didn't hold back. Sometimes it's come back to bite you.
It has.
Sometimes it's been a real game changer. So I absolutely admire that you do speak out for what you believe in and what your firm believes in. I want to change and get into something that's near and dear to both of us, and that's called investing. And so we are in a period of real chaos, turmoil, and huge question marks around the world. Where are we going? And so I think obviously with a lot of geopolitical factors that play a role here, impacting global businesses today, and you very much are a global statesman and a global businessman, and I don't know anyone that has built the kinds of relationships that you have built around the world. It's been remarkable. And I'll just make a sidebar on that for all of you in the audience. I used to do all this too, but let me tell you how important it is to build your network, to spend the time meeting with people, and don't ask for anything. Just build the relationship, because I can tell you, and I'm sure, Larry, you found this too, that people do business with people they like and trust.
Absolutely.
And it's about as simple as that. And so as you're building your career, reach out, build the relationship, not just one time check the box, but go back and continue to meet with people. And you're never going to know when that will come back to pay dividends to you. So we'll leave it at that. But what are you hearing in your conversations that as you meet with both business people all over the world and government leaders today?
Well, there's quite a bit of confusion and uncertainty. I look at uncertainty and confusion as an opportunity. So let me start off with the context. So many people get rattled by whatever source of media they choose. They get rattled with all the negativity. I actually get encouraged by the negativity. Not the negativity itself, but the conversation. And I do believe we solve problems when we have conversations. You never solve problems or move forward without a conversation. And so, yes, we are in a period of real change. President Trump is really trying to change the future of the United States in his vision. It's a dramatic change from post-World War II economic policy. And right now we're in a period of change and uncertainty. I think all this is going to lead to a short-term recession, probably stagflation. But the question is, will these policies then create real investment opportunities and growth? The unlocking of private capital. I wrote an editorial on election day that how we need to unlock private capital. We cannot rely on deficits anymore. Our deficits are clearly out of control. When we had our presidential election, neither candidate was ever asked about deficits. And so that's one thing that I'm frightened of, that we don't have a conversation on. You know, both political parties refuse to talk about the deficits and how that's going to play out over the course of the year. And the deficits are going to become an essential problem in the future, because we are the country that stores a value called the dollar. And if we jeopardize that relationship with the rest of the world, then we have some serious issues going forward. So I truly worry about things we don't talk about. Yesterday and Tuesday night in Washington, we had a conference with 60 members of Congress on retirement and the fear of retirement in America. That is another conversation we do not have. And I think so much of the uncertainty in this country today is as we are getting closer to retirement. 50-odd% of Americans have less than $150,000 savings. And if they only rely on Social Security, if you use that as an income bracket, they are in poverty the day they retire. And we don't talk about that. So there's great issues going on that we're not talking about. The geopolitical issues, actually, I look at this as a better future than it was a year and a half ago. It appears there's going to be closer to a resolution in the Middle East. There appears to be some form of resolution in Ukraine. And so there are things that are moving forward in a better way. There are a lot of things that are creating uncertainty. And unquestionably, post-World War II, the United States, because of our position in the world, we used our trading patterns and policies as a means to elevate countries that we needed to elevate economically. So for instance, South Korea. We wanted to elevate the economic strength of South Korea. And so we created asymmetric trading agreements between the U.S. and South Korea. We wanted to elevate Japan post-World War II. So we created asymmetric trading agreements with Japan. We had asymmetric trading agreements with our neighbors, Canada and Mexico. In the eyes of lifting our friends, our neighbors, our allies, with the idea that we would then be able to do more global trade. Now the question is, this is now 70 years later, the question is, should we have those asymmetric treaties today? That's the uncertainty that's going on now. Can South Korea and Japan and our two neighbors, can their economy be lifted if we had more symmetrical trading agreements? That's the conversation that's going on now, and that's actually in the short run very disruptive. And we're going to be living with that. Deportation is putting a huge chill into our economy. 70% of the men and women who work in agriculture were not born in the United States. Many of them may be citizens now, many of them may be have work visas, but many of them do not. 40% of the construction industry are not born citizens of the United States. Many of them are citizens now, many of them have work visas, but many don't. And the same thing I could say for restaurants, and I could say the same thing for hospitality. And so all of this is creating disruption and a weakening of the economy. At the same time, if you're a federal worker today and you're worried about that you're going to be furloughed and removed, you're not going to be booking a vacation this year. And right now, because they're trying to arrest the growth of the federal government, federal workers are not even allowed to fly. So we had two airline companies announce that the passenger count has gone down dramatically. They're coming out with a revaluation. So in the short run, we have a lot of volatility. In the short run, we have a lot of uncertainty. It probably means we're moving very rapidly towards a modest recession. And these policies in the short run are really inflationary. But I'm much more optimistic that if the president and his policies can unlock private capital, and we'd be investing easier, faster, with less regulation, if the permitting process is cut in half or cut in a third, then we can put more money to work with more certainty of our return on those investments. Then I think the economy can be lifted in the second half of this year, or clearly in 2026. So I think this is going to be hard to navigate. I think